typically you're not happy when the other team shoots 61%. Typically you don't win when the other team shoots 61%. I doubt this was the way you would have drawn it up. Can you give us sort of your thoughts on playing this defense?
Necessarily drawn it up this way, but we also had a gut feeling like this is a very good offensive team. We knew we were going to have to put some points on the board and not have a shootout. I don't want to say it was that, but the degree of difficulty of the shot making between Doncic and Irving is incredible. And these, they just make the really difficult shots look so easy to the average fan. No matter what the scheme, we threw the kitchen sink in terms of all the different schemes we have in our playbook. And they both have a way of manipulating it. And then they have three-point spacing all over the place. So we knew we'd have to put some pressure on them offensively. And I thought for the course of the game, we were able to get them on their heels with our offensive attack and very intentional. And guys were aggressive, in all the different ways. And Jimmy controlled the tenor and tempo of the game throughout the course of his minutes. And Cody and Kevin just gave us an incredible boost, and both of them in just opposite ways. Cody was really getting behind the defense, finding all those gaps for those finishes around the rim. He has a really good knack for that. And I think, he's been a starter for a large part of his career. And when he plays, with guys like Jimmy, he just finds a way to get in those open gaps. And those were big-time relief points for us. And then Kevin, I just can't say enough about his professionalism. With Bam out, we just had to, this team is super small with a lot of different shooting. So, we went with a different starting lineup, and that might be the way we go over the next 4 games. These are playoff games for us. We'll just do the lineups, whatever is necessary. But he totally gets it, and he gave us a great spark off the bench. With his skill level, his shooting opened up a lot of different things for us. And then I think you saw, those pockets of moments where you could see where the kind of player he used to be. All those finishing and post-ups, duck-ins, offensive rebounding around the basket. He's evolved into becoming one of the most prolific three-point big man shooters in the league. But when he came into the league, he did it all. And a lot of his work was on the block and in the paint. A great touch, and those were relief points for us as well. And then the charges and his rebounding was key as well.
It feels like every other game Jimmy does something like this, 30-something points on 16 shots with 12 assists and no turnovers. So he's just been – I know you say you never take it for granted, but – he didn't, he said in New York he wasn't great physically. He obviously missed the game in Toronto. For him to answer the bell this late in the year and have a game like that.
Yeah.
He says playoff Jimmy doesn't exist. Do you disagree? Is this the start of playoff Jimmy?
Well, his competitiveness will always trump, everything. He lives for the competitive moments. He's going to rise above the competition and carry us all along with him. And he'll do it on both ends of the court. Even just setting the tone in the first quarter, matching up against Doncic. And then throughout the course of the game, he basically was playing either Doncic or Irving. You can't take that for granted as one of the most elite two-way players in this game. But it's the controlling of the tenor of the game, that is such a skill set that he has in those key moments. He was finding Cody on a lot of those plays. Scoring when he needed to, drawing fouls when he needed to at key moments. He does all of those things, for this team. I think probably the 2 days in between probably benefits him as much as anybody. Unfortunately, Bam, got nicked up in the New York game. So the two days helped in terms of him as well, not enough to be able to play, but Jimmy definitely felt revitalized, from a health standpoint, for sure.
Dallas spent almost all of that last game doubling Jimmy, and we didn't see them able to do much of that tonight. What were you guys doing to make it difficult for them to even try that?
Try to get him in some different areas as well, where it's not just the right block. He's ultra effective there. You want to get him there as often as possible, unless a team is specifically trying to scheme against that. But his versatility, you can put him anywhere on the floor. And without Bam playing tonight, we actually had to use him in a lot of those areas where Bam normally occupies that space. And that speaks to Jimmy's versatility, that he can morph into whatever you need him to do for your team. So he's doing a lot of things at the top of the floor, or with the ball in his hands, which I like. There's actually not too many areas of this game where I don't like him. On the block, at the top of the court, with the ball, as a screener. And we needed all of that tonight.
Winning the margins was such a big part of the formula in the first half of the season. How nice was to kind of get back to that tonight? Points off turnover, second chance points, free throw.
Yeah, that is a good point, because although we gave up, 120 plus, that's not your typical Miami Heat defensive game, but the activity level, you could feel it. So I don't care about an analytic. I don't care about a stat. We're an energy, effort, toughness team, activity team, disruptive team. When we're making those kind of multiple efforts, you can just optically see it, and you can, more importantly, feel it. And that's what I saw tonight. And we had an intentional game offensively, where we got shots on goal, we got the ball where we needed to go. It always helps when you make shots, but intentionality, usually gives you a better chance of that.
You mentioned Jimmy finding Cody, but I guess when you look at that pick and roll, and when it clicks like that, is it more so the pacing of both them being similar?
Yeah.
You look at the fact that Jimmy's a little bit slower in those pick and rolls. Do you notice those openings because of that reason?
Yeah, there's a nuance to it. Cody's a great screener. He's physical as a screener, but he also does it with detailed technique. Every once in a while he'll get an offensive foul, and that's based on the interpretation of what the official sees. Sometimes there's bone-crushing contact that the official may view as, oh, that's excessive, but it's not. He does it with really good technique. But Jimmy plays at a pace where he allows Cody to get behind the defense. And also he has the poise and the ability to deliver the ball late. And we really needed that tonight, those relief points. It couldn't just be Jimmy, on the right block, making all these plays. We had to have a lot of plays in between, and those relief points, those rolls to the rim. Cody, we always respected about him. He has a good feel for how to set screens, but also roll to the rim. He can also catch it early and take it to the rim, which he had on a couple dunks, or you can get him late. So he has a lot of those different things that you try to teach young players. He has a really good feel for that.
Coach, you mentioned intentionality on offensively, and since the All-Star break, the team is fifth across the league in free throw attempts, and tonight you doubled up Dallas on free throw attempts, was able to take an 18-point lead, and you got 4 double-digit scores outside of Jimmy's big night. Is there anything that you're seeing since the break about the teams being able to, despite being shorthanded, being able to get shots that you want, controlling tempo, and getting on the other end of the court? Is there anything that you're seeing amongst the team being able to, no matter who you're putting out there, still being able to do what you want to do?
Yeah, look, the offense since the All-Star break, save for the last 3 games before this, I hope those were aberrational. But how we want to play in our identity and the attacking nature, we've been doing that far more often than we haven't. And when we weren't able to do that in those 3 games, or at least the 2.5 games, proved to be pretty costly. We know what the deal is. We know how we want to play, and it's a matter of doing it consistently more often than not. All right, thank you.